Was it done? Well, let's start. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning. All right, we're here for public comments with respect to a resolution the commissioners have before them to accept or reject the petition for annexation of 18.83 acres in Canfield Township to the city of Canfield. We'll open it up for any public comments. 3 minutes. Ask you to state your name and address the board. Anyone like to speak? Please. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Most of you know me. My name is David Costaro, and my address is 1128 Shadowwoods Drive, Niles, Ohio. I am here as a private consultant representing the developer petitioner. As many of you know me from the Costaro Company, I do not represent the Costaro Company here today. I am, as I said, a private consultant. What I would like to show you as an exhibit is a drawing which was submitted as part of the petition for annexation. But in this situation, I have, I'm sorry? Yes. Oh, yes. On this drawing, what I've done is I have colored in so that I can represent for you what is being annexed in comparison to what is currently in the township and what's currently in the city. Yes, in the city. And if you don't mind me stepping forward.
Sure, please.
What this exhibit shows, and I'm holding this in a direction where it's a little easier to explain. North is to the right of the page, south is to your left, and the area shaded or hatched, as you can see on your drawing, is the area to be annexed, and the area in white is the area of the city. Now, I'm not exactly sure of the status of the Awad or Awad annexation, which is to the left of your page. So I left it showing that it's in the city, although I'm not exactly sure of the status. It may still be in the township. But that's irrelevant in what I want to show you this morning. To the south, or not to the south, to the bottom of the page, or which would be to the east of, in north, southeast, and west direction, is property of the city. And then in yellow is property that still remains in the township. Now, pointing your attention to the shaded area, you will notice that there is no part within the shaded area that is left in the township. Okay? The statute says that you cannot create an area with your proposed annexation that completely surrounds a township area with the proposed annexation into the city. So there is no area within that shaded area that's being proposed for annexation that is remaining in the township. In addition to that, if you'll notice, on both sides of the annexation property, we have connections to property within the township from property that is on the top of the page within the township. So you'll notice, and I'm going to point my finger on my drawing so you'll have to watch me. On this side of the page, there is a connection point from the property above the annexation to the property below the annexation, which is on West Palmetto Road. On the right side of your page is a connection along 224 from property within the township and onto property also within the township on the east side of Palmetto Road. So we have not created what you call an island or a piece of property that's still remaining in the township that is surrounded by property within the city after the proposed annexation.
What happens here? Just this just runs into this?
Yes. This strip of property that is the 5-foot connector is property owned by the petitioner,
Okay.
as well as,
So this will only one down
so
there. It
this,
stops here.
the property, and I'm answering your question
Yeah,
to the whole
I'm
group.
asking.
The whole group.
I'm asking about this here.
This property that's shown in white on the left side of the page, which is not owned by the petitioner, the property stops at that black line that's showing adjacent to the yellow shaded area. So this property of Awaz stops at this line, which is shown in black on your drawing, which is the south boundary line of the petitioner.
There's the road there.
And yes, and
So there's access.
yes, there's that.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any questions? At this time, I'd like to, with the commissioner's permission, if there are no further questions of me, invite the petitioner up to speak on behalf of the project as well. Frank.
Good morning, Commissioners. Frank Amedia, 3445 Winter Circle, Canfield, Ohio. And thank you for your time. I regret that you had to come in this morning. It wasn't by choice, but I'm here just to assure you of this. And this is similar to our conversation that you granted me time a couple sessions ago. And that is that we remain committed to a spirit of cooperation. I want to assert that to you. We appreciate your efforts, and I understand that you're put in a position that is trying to resolve and solve for all of the residents and citizens. I want you to know I respect that and understand that. I am a township resident, and I have a church in the city, so sort of an arm in both areas with love for Canfield, love for the schools, love for the fire, the sheriff, the police. That being said, there has been some movement in this past month or so with some meetings that we haven't been part of, we haven't been invited to them, but we understand that there may or may not be progress, and that's only because we had heard that a couple months ago, and it seems we're at the same place we were then. Our issue is simply this. We made commitments and timetables that we haven't met because of reasons far beyond our control, even though, in my opinion, we've met all of the legal requirements and have been approved by the city of Canfield. Irreparable damage is being caused. First of all, to one of the landowners, and then secondly, to myself and us. We're losing money, we're losing time, and if it was based on a reason of our own negligence or recklessness, then I guess we should be held accountable for that. But if it's not, then I would only ask that you consider that in your considerations. Finally, this. We are committed to a very nice project. We have presented and proposed areas that satisfy a few of the concerns, and I want to share those with you. One of those is that along Palmyra Road, it was our proposal from the beginning that become nothing but a residential that mirrors exactly across the street. Looking at it myself, if I was in one of those homes, I would want to know that my neighborhood's been preserved and if nothing else enhanced. Secondly, there was a concern that if water and sewer comes through, that if you're within that designated zone area, you could be required by the state to tap into the sewer. I've spoken to some of those residents. One or two would like to, a few would not. However, they all seem to agree that in the future, that could enhance the value of their property because it's a potential possibility. So what we've proposed is to back that water and sewer behind the residential area so that it's not within that zone, and then it's their option, and to give them that option always to tap in. We've proposed a commercial zone that is pretty much what is approved right now by the township, expanded virtually very little on the commercial side of it, and we've proposed that the lake be open to the community as we develop it so that it would be something that would be enhanced. I believe that, and finally this, should we be approved and go forward with the annexation, that's only the first phase. And if what we're hearing from the township is that they think they could get this done in the next 180 days, well, then we would be willing to back that in. Now, why do I say 180 days? My understanding is we're at least 30 days away if they were to aggressively agree and approve something now. After that 30 days, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a 30-day waiting period or more, and then you have 45 more days. So, in essence, if everything went perfectly, we're at 100 days. If it doesn't go perfectly, we could be another half a year. I ask you for your consideration that we can proceed ahead on this path, and if they agree to a JED, and I say if, because I think we all know that the Redgate situation is what's blocking us, mostly I'm told. That's been going on since 2004. I have high hopes that we've helped to bring it to the table and it can happen, but if it happens, we are still prepared and committed to participate in the JED. So I thank you for your time, I appreciate it, and I want you to understand that there's utmost respect for your office. Please understand that. Thank you, God bless you.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Yes, please.
Good morning. My name is Phyllis Landerman Harmon, and I'm here as a representative of the family and as a trustee for the Landerman Family Trust. Our family has been an upstanding members of the community going back many years into the 1800s, which I'm sure you're very familiar with Landerman's Mill. That is
Carol
part
was
of
here
our
when they built
family.
it.
I'm sorry, what?
Carol was here when they built it.
Oh.
I would have thrown him right out of here.
I give you
She
permission
got the
to do
ribbon
that. Well, we have owned this land in Canfield for 3 generations, which consisted of my family, which was 11 children, my mom, my dad. My grandparents owned it before that. We now have 35 grandchildren and 32 great-grandchildren, all who reside in this area. So we did not take this project lightly. We did it with great thought and consideration, and none of us are getting any younger, and we don't feel we can hold on to the farm any longer. So when Frank came to us with this proposition, we felt this is great, and this is something that the community, that would be an advance to the community, and something good that, and Frank is certainly a very highly respected developer in the area, and we felt very good about that. This project has a potential for more tax dollars for the community and also for our schools. I, again, am supporting Frank in his efforts to get this annexation taken place. I think any extension on this is just going to create more hardships for our families and more stress. This has been going on now for some time. I think we've given the township ample time to make a decision on this and decide what they want to do. And in closing, I'd like to say that I think our property should be considered definitely separate from the Redgate issue. Their property does not border ours in any way, and I think all the issues here have been sort of addressed to the Redgate property, and for some reason, we have seemed to have been thrown in with that situation, and I don't think that's fair to the family or to Frank in this process. So we respectfully submit to the commissioners that you consider our property on its own merit and the Redgate on its own merit. Okay, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for your answers. Anyone else? Yes.
Good morning. Maria Zoe Cartwright, and my address is 6129 Leffingwell Road. I'm also a Canfield Township trustee. As you know, with the petition, Canfield Township indeed did register its objections to this particular expedited type 2 annexation. And in that objection, you'll see all the reasons that we've listed, including the fact that we do believe that it creates islands. And unlike some of the areas that are highlighted there, you do have residents that live on South Palmyra Road who will have city property behind them, to the left of them, to the right of them, and we do believe that creates an island. We also believe that the connector is very minimal that goes from the city to the other property across, which is Lanterman, through the road right away there. So we also want to point out that there is the issue of the fact that we have that May 5th, 2007 judgment from the court that says the city and the township should always work together on a JED agreement or an annexation agreement before they try to get into these disputes. And we have done that in good faith. And a JED agreement takes time to get done. It is not a simple thing to do. However, the township has, in consensus and in principle, we are in agreement for a JED, an annexation agreement, as it relates to Lanterman, Awad, or also called Mayo properties, and Redgate. With that said, we're looking for the township to work for the next step, which is a meeting with the city and the developers' representatives for a development and an infrastructure plan so that we can put the details into the JED agreement. Now keep in mind that the JED agreement will cover 111 acres of the Lanterman property. What Mr. Amedia is asking for today is only a little over 18 acres. That means he's got to come back to you again and again, and we all have to have these discussions again and again, and each time that builds in additional time. Will probably far exceed your 180 days that you're talking about. If you allow the city and the township to proceed, and we are in agreement at this point, conceptually and in principle, with the latest agreement, which isn't much different than the JED agreement that was presented to the city by the township a month or so ago, this can get done. What we need to do now is to get an infrastructure plan and a development plan with the details that can be incorporated into the JED agreement, as we previously did with our latest JED and the first JED in Mahoning County in Canfield Township. So we are asking you at this time to please give us the time to do this and deny this petition. And we ask you to do that today. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure.
Pat Colombo, 6629 South Palmyra Road in Canfield. And I'm just here to support what Marie just said. We have no problem with the developer at all in development. We think it's an excellent plan. But we do feel we're in an island. The property was just sold to the right of me. The Lanterman property is right across the street. The other property's right down the road that's just been annexed recently. We do feel like we're being cut off like an island. We're very concerned about what's going to happen relative to water and sewer. We're going to be forced to tie into something. There's a lot of fear. And so we really would support a JED, some cooperative effort in the whole plan as was just outlined by our trustee.
Anyone else?
Morning. I'm Attorney Jim Tadla, 803 Texas Avenue, McDonald, represent the petitioners. And I'm the one that made everybody get this fine after a 3-day weekend. Obviously, we're doing this because we had to take steps to expedite it through the court system. As Frank said, we're in support of cooperating and everything, but what we found specifically states you have to decide within 30 to 45 days if the criteria is met. There's been speak about islands. The statute is clear. It's one line, and it says the property being annexed. That's what it is. Just look at the property being annexed. It does not completely surround township, unincorporated township property. That's where just looking, not do we complete a donut, but do we have a donut? And if you look at it, this is an expedited process, and the primary criteria is unanimity, all of the owners, as opposed to those annexations that have a majority of owners. That's your old-fashioned, is it unreasonably large, and all that other standard. We took that out when it's unanimous, and we said we'll expedite it. We'll give it to you if you meet these. Now, the reason for that island is you can't get this area and have 4 or 5 people that don't want to annex, and then say, okay, but we all do. We'll leave you out, where it should be a majority type in that area, but we're going to just leave you out and make it an expedited type 2. That's why you don't want to completely surround. We're saying the criteria for getting your decision within 30 to 45 days are these items. We do meet those items. That they have entered somewhere else into an arrangement to cooperate, that's fine. And I don't mean to be a stickler, but you have to do it within that 30 to 45 day period. We got what our rubber stamp is, look at the criteria, have we met it, and if that's the case, then we're entitled to our annexation. That's the lawyer point of view. Obviously, the cooperation and all that comes from the client. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session with our attorney to discuss.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Middy O'Geady?
Yes.
Commissioner Trafficante?
Yes.
Commissioner Ditzler?
Yes. We will go across the hall. All I can say